All right, team. This is another sit and go a strategy video. Today we are going to be playing some hyper turbos, potentially some turbos, but we're probably going to be focusing on some hyper turbos. So yeah, let's get right into the action. Well, first, maybe you want to check out some past ones. If you managed to not see our other ones, you can check them out in the description below. Now let's get into the action. Alright guys, what's going on? We're getting into it here. This is a $200 6 max hyper turbo. And it looks like we're gonna have a $1,000 buy-in as well. Coming up here in a second. So we've started out, this is the first hand I believe of the sit and go. We're gonna check it back on the turn here for a second time with the ace jack. We came in for a raise in the cutoff and we got a call from both the blinds. We're just going to check it down. Probably lose to a small pair, but don't really think there's much we can do. I'm going to take these headphones off. Not sure why those are on. Actually, I know exactly why those are on. Oh, ho, ho! We win with the ace high. That is a good result. I don't really see much value in betting here at any street, really. I mean, we're betting into two players in the flop. What's going on with my ace jack there? There we go. I don't really see, like, we're betting into two players in the flop with an ace high with a decent backdoor flush draw. It doesn't really make too much sense to be doing so with what we have. I think we just take a free card, hope to improve. I'm gonna see if there's any $100 games running as well, so we can get two tables up here. I think two tables is the sweet spot. From what people were saying, they preferred us to slow it down and maybe talk a little bit more about what we've got going on. Making some standard folds here, queen 7. We can talk about a lot of things these signals. I'm not really sure what we're going to talk about today, what we're going to focus on today. But we can talk about a lot of, we can talk about opening ranges, we can talk about some early game post flop play, we can talk more about bubble play. It also depends on, you know, where we go on the signals. If we go very deep, if we win a lot of them, if we get heads up on a lot of them, and we can talk about bubble play. But yeah, back to the ace jack hand. We're just going to check it back. 10 comes on the turn. So now we have a gut shot straight draw as well. I don't really think that anyone's folding a pair. So if we were to bet the turn here, I don't really see a 7 or a 10 or a king folding. We're basically just protecting our hand versus two hands that both have high cards and don't have ace queen. And nobody really has ace queen because they would have re-raised us all in pre-flop. So back to the current hand, we're going to check it here with the 9-5 in the big blind. We're going to check back the turn there, was just updating the title. And we're just going to check it all the way down and probably lose to a queen or a 10 high. I mean, we chop with a 10 high, so we lose to a queen high. I mean, we could try to rep the deuce here, actually, and bet like 75. I don't really know. He might call us with a jack, but that's about it. Because a king or an ace would have value bet at some point in this hand, I believe. So we're trying to get queen high and chops to fold, and potentially a jack even to fold. So yeah, we were originally just going to check that hand down and, you know, give up on the hand. But after thinking about it for a second, we realized that a bet would work here because we'll finish the ace jack hand and then we can review. So we check back on the turn, checks all the way through on the river. No value in betting, I don't think. We're just going to get called by one pair too often. Oh, we have a $100 another game here. Hi, Blaze. We have a friend note from the stream. We should probably fold here. 6-1 with 10-3 offsuit. We're playing against two no-notes. I will look up Smelly Fish or whatever this dude's name is here. Jack 7 on the button is going to be a little bit too loose. Jack 9 offsuit, I would definitely open up. This guy is open limping, and I've never seen him before. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that he probably is a recreational player. Yeah, so this guy has only played 29 games on PokerStars, so it's likely that he is also probably a recreational player. So we have a $100 game up here and a $200 game. And we're sitting some other games. We're currently sitting in a $1,000 buy-in with 4 of 6. So hopefully that gets to fire. I'm not 100% sure that it will, though. I think we're just going to find a fold here. We do need to be 4-bet shoving sometimes with small ace-x suiteds to balance when we have, like, you know, jacks and queens and 10s. But I don't think that this is going to be the one. I haven't played with New Guy in a while. But he was one of the more aggressive regs back in the day. I'm going to raise under the gun here with the 9-8 suited, and we have a strong holding in the 200. So I'm going to be going all in with that one. And we need to fade 3 aces. Oh, daily quads on YouTube. Not too shabby, huh? Not too shabby. Don't need to fade anything after that flop. So over to the 9-8 suited that we raised under the gun. We see a pretty decent flop for us. We have 2 overs and an open-ended straight draw. I'm going to continuation bet right around what we bet pre-flop. We could possibly even bet a little bit less, but I think when we raise under the gun, it's good to bet this amount. So we see a min raise. We can do 2 things here. We can shove or we can call. I don't really know if he's like min raising with many hands other than like 6x, and he's probably bluffing a lot. So I think we want to try to take it down right now. And if he does have the 6, okay, so he has a boat, so we're drawing dead. If he does have the 6, we generally still have an open-ender to get there. But when you get it all in versus a boat with a straight draw, you are generally not doing well. So poorly, in fact, that we were drawing dead. So we're going to check in the big blind. We flop bottom pair here in the 200. 200 is the one you want to win anyways, you know, not the 100. We are going to start with a call. He bets 1.5 big blinds. We have bottom pair, so when we flop a pair in a limp pot, it's very likely that we're ever gonna check fold to 1 bet. I might check fold to a 2nd bet though, depending on the sizing. I feel like he checks back a lot of the time though. I think we have to check fold now. If we had a 10, we wouldn't check fold, but the 4 is also susceptible to a lot of his bluffs getting there. You know, like if he has say King 8 and he's bluffing with it, he still has 6 outs to get there. Where if we have a 10, he only has 3 outs. So small blind, you should be shoving extremely wide for sub 10 big blinds. We would have definitely been shoving the 7-10 suited. I think I would shove any suited 10, like 10-2 suited here. Potentially any suited 9 as well. Maybe 9-4 suited would be the bottom. But you probably want to be shoving around 60, 65, 70% of hands. Potentially even more, depending on your opponent and how wide you think that they are calling. So we could perceivably raise this 7-9 offsuit and raise full to both players. The reason being because the big blind is not going to be playing as well as, say, like Bombus Lol or New Guy, who I know are 6-max sit-and-go regulars, who play these games day in and day out. Bubbles are really the most interesting part of sit-and-goes, and really the spot where you can dive in and really dissect what's going on, you know? Okay, this has to be like queens, kings, or aces for New Guy here. He min races over a limp when he has 6 big blinds. That has to be pocket kings, pocket aces, or queens. I cannot imagine him doing that with anything else. So we have 4s here. We're going to be calling a shove from everybody except for Snackson. He's the only one who'd be shoving 12 big blinds. I'm not really confident about it. New Guy shoving the button here with just over 9 big blinds. It is going to be a call. I think we probably call any pair here. Deuces could be the only one we might fold, but we definitely call 3s. And we're certainly calling 4s as well. Need to fade an ace or a 7. Pretty good flop for us. Okay. Well, okay. So all of a sudden we have half the chips in play four-handed. So that means that we're going to be super aggressive now. And by super aggressive, I don't mean that like we're going to raise with like 7-3 offsuit. I just mean like with queen 3 offsuit, 5 big blinds, effective blind versus blind, we would definitely be shoving. We'd probably be shoving that anyways, regardless of our stack size, though. Gonna be interested to see what Snackson does. He's been limping a lot, so I'd imagine he's limp folding a lot of the time. Oh my goodness, and he just gets coolered, but he gets there. Chop? No chop. Wow, so he's just limping with a lot of hands, but also limping with the kings. We're gonna come in for a raise. We will have to call the small blind. But again, I think that just with a recreational player in the big blind, I don't think he's going to try to like exploit me by shoving over my button open here incredibly wide or anything, which like some regulars would do. And I also think he's gonna call a lot and then check fold most flops. So that's gonna be pretty good for us, and we're gonna win a lot of chips by raising with a weaker hand. We do have a second game again. We have another $100 buy-in. Hopefully we do not blast this one off with 0% equity on the flop. I am going to shove here. Even though we saw him limp kings before, even if I shove and get called and lose the hand, I'm still going to have 600 chips, which is significantly more than the 100 that Smells Fish has. And if Smells Fish folds, even though Snackson might have a strong hand, he still has to call incredibly tight. So Snackson ends up folding, which means our read was right, and we're going to take down the pot. We're also coming in for a 3-bet call here versus Sabos with the ace-king. Not really sure about this guy. Haven't played with him before, so I want to look him up. All right, so we are in the money in the $200 6-max hyper, so I'll show you the lobby real quick here. Don't want to miss the shove, though, with the pocket 3s. Very easy shove for 13 big blinds on the button. Any pair will be good to go for, you know, basically 25 big blinds. You can shove any pair profitably. I want to raise call the 9s because 9s are, you know, very strong. And even if he calls us, we're going to go post flop a lot of the time. So we are still rolling a little bit here, but we're playing for 350. So this is what I'm talking about. If we're inducing king 6 to shove. Oh, we got a faded king. Oh my god, dude. We got quads twice in the same sit and go. And just like that, for our first sit and go that we've registered here, we have taken it down for $754.73. We did break off 100, so that's $300 in buy-in, $754. We're up 450, roughly. We do have the 100 here. We're still waiting for that 1K to fire. It's just sitting 4 of 6. I'm not sure if it's going to go off, to be honest. I am sitting some turbo lobbies as well, but at the moment, nothing is really running. It is a bit late at night. I mean, it's 6 p.m. Eastern time. Generally, this is when the games die down and stop running. But we can get up another $100 buy-in here. And we have Smells Fishy from the last game. And Busby and Wafkio. I don't know any of these 3 players. And like we discussed, Smells Fish is probably a recreational player, being that he's only played 29 games on PokerStars. Now, I mean, he could have played poker for, 15 years. And he could be a great player in another format. But when I say a recreational player or he's not going to be good at this format, I mean that he's not going to, be well versed in ranges, in how to develop a button shoving range when the stacks are 10 big blinds, 10 big blinds, 10 big blinds against 2 other regulars. Basically, things that you can only pick up over playing thousands of games with of the same format, like a 6-max Hyper Turbo with a similar regulars. Tonka, you dad is the coolest. Must have watched the stream. So I'm trying to think of like a theme. Hopefully you guys can let me know in the comment section below like what you want, what kind of information you want specifically from like a 6-max sit and go, Do you want us to discuss more bubble situations? Do you want us to discuss more pre-flop opening ranges? Obviously what you have to realize is there's like you can form static ranges for spots in general, but you also have to realize that these things are going to be constantly changing. Like ranges are going to constantly be changing due to the players that you're playing against, and the fact that you have to adjust your ranges to balance with your opponent's ranges. So, for example, on a spot where I'm shoving into, Bullets 2362, who was most likely a recreational player here. He's one of the 2 people I don't know in this game. I think I'm gonna call twice with my 9 here. It's a limped pot, and I can assume that he's gonna have like a straight draw, maybe some like random ace highs and king highs. But this is a horrendous river. We're going to have to fold now. I'll let him know that he's a cool old man. But yeah, let me know. Oh, God. Let me know what you guys want to see, But just to expand more on what we were just talking about. So say in this spot right here, 10 big blinds effective. Blind versus another regular. I'm going to be shoving, say, 50% of hands. 50, 60% of hands, something like that. Now, versus a recreational player, or someone who I perceive to be calling slightly tighter. There are definitely some tighter regs that you play against on a regular basis in these games. I'm going to be shoving significantly wider, and we're going to bust the other 100. So we're over 200 on $100 6-maxes so far. It looks like another 200 is going to fire, though. It's 5 of 6, so we'll wait on that. Oh, and God, I'm just not going to say he's a cool old man. I'm done with it. I've tried to. All right, we've got a $200 6-max Hyper Turbo, 1 recreational player noted, and 2 no notes. Snackson is the guy that we just played heads up, and after the way he played, I think we can be pretty confident that he is also a recreational player. But yeah, sorry, I'm trying to get this point across, but I'm struggling because we keep on ending up playing hands. But what I'm trying to say is, versus someone who you perceive to be tighter, you can shove much wider versus them because they aren't going to be calling you as wide. So while that player there that I just played against is probably calling me with like King 7, King 8 offsuit in the big blind for 10 big blinds, blind versus blind there, a recreational player or a tighter player that you have a read on that is a lot tighter is going to be folding with his King 7 offsuit for 10 big blinds. And that just allows you to open up your range and shove even wider. So Snacks and starting off with an open limp under the gun again and being isolated by Muherigo. And they're going to see a flop, but we are playing a pot over here in the 100. We are going to limp in on the small blind. And we see a 3.3x raise, so we're going to give it up. I could probably call like a 2.5x raise. Like if you made a 75 there, I probably would have come along. But not for that. I cannot come along for that much. We're going to shove the button here with the ace-10 for 12 big blinds. It's a little bit too weak to induce. There aren't too many hands that are shoving here over our min raise that aren't already calling. Only hands like you know, 10-7 suited and 10-8 suited and 10-9 suited, but we have to have a read on our opponent that they're one, going to shove that and not going to call. Because that's also the problem. All right, we need an ace or a 10 here. Come on. Are we going to brick all of our hundreds? This always happens to me in hundreds. I manage to lose every single pot that I play in hundreds, which I'm okay with. As long as I run good at the high stakes, I'm totally fine with that. I'm beginning to think that this 1K that we're sitting 4 of 6 is never going to fire. Just for a bit of fun, we won't be sweating it, but I have hopped into the big 215 here on the side. I mean, I'm going to be filming some YouTube videos for the next few hours, so why not, you know? Maybe I'll end up being able to film a final table run or something. That could be okay. This is a sit and go focused video. But if I just get in a deep run or something, we can film a final table. That'd be pretty good. So we're going to call with the 9-5 suited out of the big blind. And I think this is going to be a check all-in wager. I mean, we could also check call, though. The problem with check calling is that we lose a lot of equity when he hits cards on turn with, like, you know, Queen 10 or Queen Jack when he's betting here. And also, it's very difficult to not let him see a river as well. So when we assume that he's only bet calling is his, like, good aces, we can just shove and protect our equity with our 5, assuming that he is a continuation betting quite wide. We're gonna touch on this a little bit more here. All right, so pretty standard pre-flop. We'll just go through the whole hand. Pretty standard pre-flop action here. We call a raise out of the big blind from under the gun +1 from the hijack, and we see a flop where we flop middle pair on an ace high board, on a dry ace high board. He leads out 45 after we check to him. So let's go through the things that he's betting. He is betting with his bluffs, and he's almost exclusively betting with ace X plus. And probably only, like, good ace X's, because he might want to check back with, like, an ace 6 suited type hand here a lot of the time. Whereas if he has, like, ace 10, he's probably going to need to be betting to balance his range with all of his bluffs. Unless he doesn't really have that many bluffs on this board, and then he should check back a lot of things. But an ace 5-3 rainbow board is a pretty darn good board to be bluffing, which is why I want to go all in and protect my equity with 14 big blinds. Now, I know this play kind of seems... This play took me a little while to come around on and realize that it's so effective and so good. Because even when you do get called by the ace-king, ace-queen, ace-jack, you still have 5 outs to make your hand. You're still winning almost a quarter of the time. So yeah, when he bets his 45 chips here, he has his ace-x hands and then he has bluffs. And on an ace-5-3 board, he's just going to have a ton of bluffs, in my opinion. Because it's such a good board for him to bet. It's so difficult for me to have value hands. So it just makes a ton of sense for him to be bluffing with all of his, like, queen high, jack high, 10 high, you know, 10-8 suited, 10-7 suited if he's opening that wide, 9-8 suited. Hands that have relatively no equity on this flop, but will be winning the pot a lot of the time with a single bet. So yeah, that's why I think shoving is good, because we protect our hand versus all this equity. Also, if we just call here, so our gut initial reaction is always just going to be to call here. It's like, we don't have a super netted hand, so we don't want to get it all in. You know, we're not usually getting called by any worse hands when we raise here. Like, it's not like he's going to take pocket 4s and bet call. He's going to check those 4s back, or even potentially bet fold. But we're protecting our hand by going all in, because when we just call here and we check the turn, now all of his bluffs, all of his 10-8, all of his jack 10, queen 10, queen jack, king queen, all of those bluffs are going to check back the turn. And by letting him do this, he basically gets 2 free cards to get there on us. And also, it becomes significantly more difficult if he bets the turn, checks back, or bets the flop, checks back the turn, and we don't improve to 2 pair or trips or a backdoor flush. It makes it really tough for us to call a bet on the end. So it allows him to bluff us off the hand even more. So yeah, this is basically just a quick little crash course on protecting your hand with a second or a third pair on a dry flop, and yeah, going all in with one of these hands. Thank you, my beautiful friends, for checking out another one of our sit and go strategy videos. If you enjoyed this content, be sure to let me know in the comment section below. I'm always looking for feedback on whether or not you guys are enjoying these. Let me know what you guys want to see, like what you guys want me to go into in a deep content, or in deep content, like what you guys want me to analyze, you know? And I will do that to the best of my ability. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you are not already subscribed. If you do enjoy the videos, be sure to do just that. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. It's sellout time, boys. Check it out.